Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Stalker Show with the weekly comic book roundup. We've covered a handful of this week's Marvel looks. Now it's on to this week's, well, another chunk of them. Kicking things off, we've got Ben Reilly Spider-Man number 5, wrapping up the Humanity Agenda miniseries. Where we left off, the villain stalking Ben Reilly had been revealed to be none other than the failed Spider clone, Spider-Side. Spider-Side revealed he had taken the place of one of the doctors at Ravencroft and then released all of the inmates. So, the patients at Ravencroft have been released and are attacking the security forces. Spider-Side explains that he is reveling in his inhumanity as opposed to trying to figure out humanity. And he's able to use his symbiote-esque tendrils to basically turn Edward Wayland back into vermin. Spidey deals with the escaped inmates while Dr. Kafka tries to reason with Spider-Side. Vermin's unleashed, however, but Ben is able to calm Vermin down. Spider-Side then reveals that he put just a small smidge of his own genetic material into all of the inmates, basically making it so that, sure, Spidey might take him down, but it'll only be temporary. But Spider-Side realizes that maybe he actually does care about Ben, his brother, as it were, and uses part of it and uses his abilities to seemingly bring Ben back, but something goes wrong and Spider-Side seems to die. Quick theory is that Spider-Side discovered the truth that Ben was in fact a clone, not the original Peter Parker. However, Dr. Kafka keeps Spider-Side under observation in the hopes of maybe managing to reach into his brain and basically allow him to come back and survive. And that is where the series ends. There's a upcoming Spider-Man miniseries teased at the end, the Lost Hunt. Whether or not that's going to focus on Ben I don't know, but I guess we likely won't be seeing much of the heroic Ben for a while, sadly, after the events of Spider-Man Beyond. Moving on to our next book, we've got Savage Spider-Man number 4. Where we left off, Peter had regained his human appearance, at least, and Zemo had joined forces with the Immaculate, and they were going to unleash A+ on the world. So Peter tries to figure out how he's going to stop the Immaculatum. Manages to get aboard their flying fortress, makes himself a makeshift suit, in part with the organic webbing that he's still able to at the moment produce. It's revealed that the Mad Thinker is the Immaculatum's mainframe. And I mentioned that Spider-Man had regained his human appearance, but he was a bit cold. He's shown to be quite a bit colder than normal, more analytical. Um, and he basically threatens to destroy the Immaculate's flying fortress, um, dealing with them as they try to stop him. It turned out that he just fooled the sensors aboard the flying fortress and manages to take down most of the Immaculate on his own. The A-plus missiles are launched, and while it does appear that Zemo is shot, Spider-Man, turns out that Spider-Man had put some of Zemo's body armor underneath his makeshift costume. And Spider-Man opts to take over the control of A-plus on his own from Mad Thinker, which is where the issue ends. Interesting. Kind of always trying to get an idea of how this series will end. Yeah. Anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Spider-Man 2099 Exodus number 2. Where we left off, well, to be fair, it does feel a lot more like what's going on with these is they're, while it's technically a mini-series, it feels more, so far both issues are feeling more like one-shots. So the first issue introduced the Winter Soldier of 2099, and so Spider-Man 2099 has gone to meet with with apparently Loki of 2099. I was initially going to complain about the fact that there already was a Loki of 2099 back in the original 2099 line. There was a crossover among the first few books called, I believe it was Fall of the Hammer. But Alchemax made had an Acer program, and one of the Acer they created was Loki. But this is actually acknowledged. So, but we have given this whole story about how Loki showed up in the Wastelands, found a Valkyrie, but we find out that Alchemax led an attack on Asgard and pretty much brought Asgard, caused the fall of Asgard with a Mysterium enhanced serpent. And the Valkyrie that Loki comes upon was in fact one of Alchemax's troops who was sent to attack Asgard and cause its downfall. The two of them work together and try to restore Asgard using some of the waters of the Celestial Garden. But Loki sacrifices himself to destroy the serpent, and has set up a new Asgard, a new Valhalla, kingdom for the outcasts. As he considers himself Loki, god of the outcasts. The Valkyrie then takes his place. It's explained that the celestial waters that Loki gathered, mixed with Loki's blood, basically become godhood in a jar. And so she is now Loki, and while Spider-Man says, "You've got a whole city full of gods. We're gonna need them." And she says, "But no, 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 no. These people deserve, a rest. Not they're to just live their lives, not have to worry about those stuff." But when Spider-Man does go up against the Norman Osborn and his cabal, she'll be there to help. And she adds that adds a bit of advice from someone who's been there. To take down gods, the first thing you do is make them mortal, and that is where the issue ends. I am enjoying this, but like I said, even though it's being put out as a miniseries, which in some ways I do appreciate, it so far both issues feel much more like one shots. But anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got What If Miles Morales, number 4, wherein Miles Morales becomes 4. It kind of does follow a similar formula to the other What If Miles Morales issues. Miles and his family and supporting cast are recast in the supporting cast of the character that Miles becomes instead of Spider-Man. In this case, his father is Odin, his mother is Freya, his uncle is Loki. But this version of things, there are 5 realms, much like the 5 boroughs. But there's supposed to be a big celebration, and it's believed the All Father's Jubilee, and it's believed that Odin is going to basically declare Thor his heir, the heir to the throne, and so. But Loki shows up. The says, "Hey, how about why don't I take somewhere? We'll get your dad a gift." So they go to Jotunheim, and the Frost Giants don't exactly give Thor a warm welcome, but Thor defeats the Frost Giants, and him and Loki steal the skull of Lofe. At the Jubilee, Odin, as Loki puts it, Odin is roasting each of his gifts, but Miles brings forth the skull of Lofe, and Loki being off to the side, takes the casket of Ancient Winters to liven things up, which resurrects Lofe. During Lofe's rampage, Miles is encased in ice. Loki insists that Odin do something, but Odin says, "Well, hey, this is your doing. If Miles dies, if Thor dies, his blood is on your hands." But Miles is able to basically use his call forth lightning and destroy the ice encasing him. And he also manages to stop Lofe. Loki is banished, but apparently Odin is now a bit cold towards the sun. The issue ends with a portal suddenly opening up, standing in that portal are none other than Miles Morales, Wolverine, Miles Morales, Hulk, and Miles Morales, Captain America. It seems that this Loki has escaped and is causing quite a ruckus on one of their Earths, and that is where the issue ends. And the teaser for the final issue shows the Miles we know and love as well with his variants. So that should definitely make for an interesting conclusion. Moving on to our next book, we've got Spider-Gwen, Gwen-Verse, number 3. Where we left off, Ghost Spider had managed to round up a handful of her variants. Captain America, Wolverine, and Thor. But they're butting heads a bit. They do manage to eventually, soon enough, work together to figure out what's going on. They end up in the time traveling to the 80s. At a tech show, and Gwen and her variants inadvertently create cosplay on that Earth. Turns out that the major tech company that was shown, that's Gwen noticed billboards for in the altered version of Earth 65, is apparently present at the tech show. The company being Oztech, Oz standing for Osborn, Stark, and Stacy. In this reality, Howard Stark raised Gwen Stacy. We also learn a bit about the origin of Finale. I get the feeling we'll learn by the end of the series that she is also a Captain America, a Gwen Stacy variant. But her mother was a poet, but nothing really came of her poetry. And it turns out that Finale has her own gifts. They call it a time slip, a momentary temporal dislocation is imperceptible to most living beings. She can see the future. All the futures. Good futures, real bad futures. With practice, she got good at navigating them, observing them. And what she saw was there wasn't a single future where anyone remembered her mom or her work. It was like she never existed. But in every future, almost as though the multiverse revolved around them, superheroes. We get glimpses of the old school Guardians of the Galaxy, 2099, MC2, and Days of Future Past. But basically, Finale doesn't want to end up forgotten like her mother. Back in the 80s, the Oztech debuts at Tony Stacy's Guardian Wear EXO Wetwork. Or Network. Not Wetwork, Network. It's an Iron Man suit. But some of Finale's hench folks are running around as well. Black 13 and the Glam Goblin. Gwens do what they can to stop them, but Gwen-Verse pops her one of her claws in front of Norman Osborn, and he turns into the Green Goblin. But Iron Gwen teams up with the other Gwen variants. They manage to stop Black 13 and Glam Goblin and Green Goblin. All while trying to figure out how to. And upon arriving in the present, they work to figure out how to stop Finale. Elsewhere, however, the Kree Supreme Intelligence realizes that Norman Osborn's transformation had slightly had to do with Skrull genes, and a Kree champion is made to prevent a Skrull invasion, based in some ways upon Marvel as well as Gwen, with the assignment to stop the Skrulls, and when the time comes, annihilate the Earth. And that is where the issue ends. This is honestly a very fun book. It's kind of one of those where, as much as I hate the fact that it's a miniseries, I can't wait to see how it ends, you know? Anyway, moving on to our last book for the moment, we've got Fantastic Four number 44. Where we left off, things were not looking good for the FF and their allies. The Reckoning had invaded planet T-37X, the home of the Watchers. And we discovered that the Ultimate Nullifier was a new origin for the Ultimate Nullifier. It was used against the Reckoning War, but they wiped out a massive portion of life in the universe with it. The Silver Surfer, with the Ultimate Nullifier in his possession, is leading the returned Galactus, who seems to have bonded with the Destroyer armor, towards T-37X. Meanwhile, the Franklin and Valeria have basically pulled the Operas of the Reckoning that were coming after them into thought space, in which Franklin Richards pretty much has the full scope of his powers at his disposal. In the Barrens, Reed has been basically kind of expanding his mind to try to prevent himself, or try to keep using Watcher intelligence. He makes another Forever Gate. Jack of Hearts ends up having to be basically the power source, sacrificing himself for the team. When She-Hulk volunteers to stay with him, however, he basically shoots her with a blast of energy through the gate, and shortly after she goes through, it closes. On T-37X, Wrath tosses a shard of the Emkron crystal to basically make the Watchers, who are kind of in not so much stasis, but mind link to kind of just watch, so to speak. Basically causing him excruciating pain. Doom and the Cormorant show up. Silver Surfer makes his way through the Reckoning's battle fleet, coming upon She-Hulk, Ben, and Reed. They arrive on T-37X. Reed drops the bomb on Sue that the Watcher acknowledges is killing him. And she states that's the worst thing he's ever done, though he says that the day isn't over yet. So, but the Watchers deny the truth that they were the cause of much of what had happened in the past. Wrath and the Cormorant go head to head while first the Cormorant deals with Wrath's various lackeys. Doom deals with one of the other operatives of the Reckoning. Or with Rapture. However, a new foe arrives for Rapture to face, the Thing. And she's, I nearly killed you last time. what? If you really want to die this badly, okay. But he says, okay, fine, this is round 2. I've never lost in round 2. But Sue helps out by making Rapture's blades invisible. Galactus the Destroyer shows up, as does the Unparalleled, the Guardians, and the rest of their allies. They're able to subdue Wrath, but only just. Especially with all 4 of them being brought back, the 4 now truly being brought back together. But they're not able to stop Wrath. Basically, they're able to somewhat subdue him, but he's still kind of winning. And he begins to walk into the apex when Reed follows him with the Ultimate Nullifier and uses it on him. And that is where the issue ends. Interesting story. I think we're coming very close to the conclusion of Reckoning War. But anyway, that is going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off saying, live long and rock hard.